Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. If you'd like to join the family, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Also, click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion like Cindy and Christy and Pretty Girl's mom and Rick here, you can join me most weekdays where I go live on YouTube around 4 p.m. Central Time. Or if you want to reach out to me outside of my live stream, you could consider joining the Discord I created. There's a link for that down in the description below. Also, down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. Many times people ask me what food I'm eating to lose weight or what kind of things do we eat on our diet. The best place to find examples of what we eat is to go check out that Pinterest board. Those are lots of different recipes we've enjoyed over the past 2 years. If any of the recipes have salt, oil, or sugar in them, we just substitute them or don't put them in the recipes. Today is day 780 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose over 235 pounds in the past 2 years. I'm really looking forward to reaching my goal over the course of the next 10 months and living the rest of my life at a healthy weight. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear them. If you have any on-scale victories, I'd love those as well. If you are struggling with your diet, what's kind of causing some of your struggles? What's going on that's keeping you from succeeding? And if you are succeeding, what are you doing? Let everybody know. Share it with us. And at the end of the day, what are some things that you're going to do that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Let me go ahead, switch over to the main screen here. I hope everybody had a wonderful evening and day. We are gearing up here in the Midwest, or at least where I am, for a big storm over the next few days. So we're expecting lots of snow, which then kind of throws all the travel and everything off, especially going into the holiday weekend here. But we've been, been busy. Plants Only Muncher, hello. Rick had said, it's Santa John, ho, ho, ho. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to you too. Yes, I had played around with the thumbnail a little bit and decided to put a little Christmas hat on my head. Let me see. I guess I'll go over food since yesterday, and then we can go on to today's topic. Let me see if I can get in here and get it going. See if I took many photos. I did. Oh, goodness. Can anybody guess what we had for dinner last night? It's my favorite meal right now. I came home and Carrie was like, John, I screwed up the dinner. I did something and it wasn't exactly right. Doesn't taste normal. It was amazing. It doesn't matter. You can screw it up and it's still amazing. So let me reveal here for dinner last night. We had polenta with mushrooms and white beans. And I love it. It was a great meal. I did not take a photo of the second portion I ate, which I thought for sure I did. But this was the first portion I ate, and it was smaller than the second portion that I ate. Cindy Davidson says, I knew it. Yes. This has become a regular in our house. The two reasons why I would say it's a regular is probably because there's nutritional yeast in the polenta and there's balsamic vinegar in the vegetables on top. And those are really what kind of make that dish, give that dish a lot of its flavor. And so, that was dinner from last night. Like I said, I had just an abundance of food. I was hungry last night and I ate a lot of that. And then this morning we had our standard oatmeal here. The oatmeal, it's steel cut oats and oat groats. It's a mix of those. And then we put mushrooms, onions, and spinach in it. On top there, I have sprinkled some Kirkland's no salt seasoning, and then we put a little bit of lime juice on there as well. Really enjoy our oatmeal for breakfast. Never get sick of the oatmeal for breakfast. And also what I never get sick of is my lunch, which, can anybody guess what lunch is? I'll give you a few seconds. I'm sure everybody can guess what my lunch was today. Broccoli and potatoes. Unfortunately, I didn't have many golden potatoes. We had russet potatoes, but they were still wonderful. I actually I had one lonely golden potato left. I had made a bunch of golden potatoes the other day. Somehow one of them rolled away and I didn't notice that it wasn't in the bag. So when I was cooking, until I got done cooking, and then I just had one lonely golden potato that I threw in there and I ate it outside of this like an apple, because that's the best way to eat a Yukon Gold potato, is like an apple. Pretty Girl's mom says that you're getting some storms there too, up in Massachusetts, but it's mostly rain. Yes. It would probably not be so bad if it was mostly rain, but well, rain right now really sucks too, because the temperature is right around freezing. So rain can turn to ice very quickly. And then that's sometimes even worse than having snow on the ground. But this was my lunch from today. I was solo at work today. So for me, what that means when I'm solo at work is I don't have to split the bag of broccoli. There's an entire steamer bag of broccoli inside of that bowl. Also 4 or 5 potatoes. And that is what it looks like when it's all mashed up and mixed together. I'm a little bit of a odd duck, I guess. I do take the broccoli florets and I cut them up to smaller pieces so that it's more of a mix. It's not those big chunks of broccoli in there. There's lots of little bits of broccoli in every bite. So that was my lunch for today. I am feeling really good as far as my weight goes. Diet and everything has been going really well. Let me get in here and stop. I do have a little bit of a thing that happened last week that I haven't really talked about because I didn't do anything about it until today, I guess. But last week when I was doing some stuff at the house, I injured my elbow. If you followed along with me from the beginning, or if you followed along in 2021, around August of 2021, I was moving some items or pushing some things around, and I ended up rupturing my left distal bicep tendon. And so what that tendon is it's the tendon that connects your bicep to your forearm. So it's at the elbow. And everything went great with that surgery. Recovery went well with the surgery. The weight loss slowed down. I was really on a track. I was losing a ton of weight. I had just completed the triathlon, so I was working out a bit. And then I had that injury, and it did slow down the weight loss a little bit. Anyways, last week I was moving something very heavy at my house, and something that I've had happen a couple times since hurting my left elbow is I felt a lot of strain in my right elbow doing things. And I think it's a little bit of, or a lot of it is that I've been overcompensating for the left arm by using the right arm more. And that kind of just happened because of the surgery. Over time, my left arm has regained lots of strength, and I would say that it's probably close to the strength it was before, but it was never as strong as my right arm. And so, of course, I was lifting this heavy thing. I felt a pop or something in my right elbow, and uh, kind of very familiar feeling, very, very familiar. Not as bad. Like when it happened to my left arm, it was one of the more painful things I can remember happening in my life. And this wasn't any, this wasn't any joke by any means. But so last Wednesday, I was worried that I might have done the same thing. I do have, because of that injury, I kind of know some things to look at or check for, and I feel like there's some things that are still connected, but there's still a decent amount of pain, and I'm not able to lift super heavy things with that arm. If you gave me a 10 pound dumbbell, I could probably curl a 10-pound dumbbell, 15-pound dumbbell. You get up to maybe a 30-pound dumbbell and it gets a little bit tougher. And I have good motion, like once my elbow is bent to lift things, but if I'm going from like a straight arm to bending, that's where a lot of the weakness is. And so I put it off for a couple days last week. I finally decided that I needed to do something. So I went and saw a doctor today. They actually got me in, and I actually went to the doctor today because it wasn't as clear cut as last time. Like last time he was like, yeah, you messed this up. We need to do surgery. Let's get it scheduled. This time, because some stuff is still holding on, he recommended that we get an MRI. That way, if and when he has to do surgery, he has a little bit better idea what's going on before the surgery. He did not give me much hope that I wouldn't be having surgery, but I'll know the results of the MRI on Friday when I go back and visit with him. So yeah, it's frustrating to have hurt myself. It's really hard. It's one of the things, right away I had somebody kind of question my diet about, whether or not my diet has an effect on my ligaments or my tendons. I've never seen anything that correlated weakness or that tendons to a specific diet. I would really say that it probably comes down to genetics. Something that I've kind of dealt with all my life is having some tendon issues. And so I was talking about it to somebody, and just like when I was a kid, like in junior high, I can remember having issues with my Achilles tendons. They would get really sore. And we went to the doctor, and the only suggestion that he could really make to me was to do exercises that stretched the tendon. So to get on a step and kind of allow my body weight to cause your foot to kind of go at like a negative angle or an upward angle. And then also for a short period of time, I wore these little like 1/4-inch foam pads on the heel of my shoe. That way it would reduce the stretching that my tendon had to do on my day-to-day walking. So then that happened. When I was in high school, I tore my ACL, which is a tendon, or a ligament, I guess. It's a ligament, not a tendon. And I was told by the doctor that if I did tear my ACL again, it would probably be the other knee, just because of the way my body is shaped and my legs are formed. That's kind of not a surprise. So that was in high school. Fast forward 6 or 7 years, and I tore my ACL again, and it was the same leg. So I actually didn't tear my other leg's ACL. I retore the same ACL. Something with my elbows that I would say is why I wouldn't blame the diet is because from the time when I was in high school, I used to be very active. I used to wrestle a lot. And there's actually two examples that I'm going to give about why I think that this is something that has been with me my whole life. It's just, maybe I'll get into that in a minute, but what the examples for my elbows, the two examples are that if I would work out a lot, I used to wrestle a lot. And if I got into a thing where we were wrestling real hard all week, or we had lots of tournaments and I was exerting myself a lot, like we had a tournament where it was a tough tournament and I was wrestling long matches, that my elbows would get really sore right on the inside, right where the distal bicep tendon is. And there was a friend of mine who he kind of had similar pain. He would get the same similar pain that I would get in the elbow. And so we would do lots of stretching where I'd put my hand flat on the wall. I don't know if I can kind of show, but I'd put my hand, let's go this way, flat on the wall. And then I turn my shoulder. That way it would like open this up and stretch it out even more. And so that I remember that in high school, and it used to happen a lot. And then the other that I didn't think about till more recent, but I'm a big guy and I hang out with other people and other guys. And this was more so when I was in high school and in college. I would get people to challenge me in arm wrestling. Not a lot, but people, please arm wrestle. Let me arm wrestle you, and being the biggest guy in the room, a lot of times people would want to take down the biggest guy in the room. And so I would occasionally arm wrestle, but I very rarely did, because early on, like when I was in high school, if I arm wrestle somebody one time, just do arm wrestling one time and do a full, whatever, win, lose, draw, however it came out, my elbow would kill me for days. And so at a certain point, very early on when I would get challenged, I don't have anything to prove and it's just going to hurt me. I'm going to arm wrestle you and I win and I hurt, my elbow gets hurt. I lose, my pride gets hurt and my elbow hurts. So there was no benefit that I saw in arm wrestling people. And I would have beat them all anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So those are all examples that way before this diet that I've had tendon issues, I've had ligament issues, I've had these different things. Maybe it's something that my diet's always missed. Maybe there's not enough, I don't know, cellulose in my diet or something, which there's there's plenty of cellulose in my diet now, I believe, or there's probably more in it now than there ever was. But the other aspect that, this is my unmedical opinion, is that my muscles were stronger than my tendons could handle. And my muscles got strong because I don't lift, I don't go work out, I don't bend, but I'm a strong person. I work for a moving company. I don't do a ton of moving, but if it was when I was doing the moving, when we first started our company, I was always on the job that had the biggest furniture. I was always the one moving the biggest stuff because I knew how to move, handle my weight and move it around and use it to my benefit. And then I was also very strong. So in my body, I know can build muscle really easily because I had done it a lot in high school, and that muscle stays with you for a long time. And then when you're heavy, doing everything is a bit of a workout. And what it really got me thinking about is that as I've lost weight, as I've gone from 520 pounds down to 285 pounds, the amount of times I use my arms to do things is fractional to what it used to be. Like to get up out of this chair, I would have before pushed down on the armrest to stand up. I don't need to do that now. I can just stand up. going up a flight of steps, I would rely on that handrail and kind of use that handrail, and I'd use my upper body strength that can kind of help bring myself up the steps. I don't have to do that anymore. And so I'm not using the muscles like I was 2 years ago. And like, it's a weird thing because I just think of myself as being just this fat 520-pound person, but I was a 38-year-old person that was carrying around a 300-pound backpack everywhere they went. And so, of course, your muscles are going to be constantly growing unless you become completely sedentary. And so I think that there may be a little bit of my muscles are still real strong, but I'm not using the tendons as much. You know, like if I was doing yoga more maybe, or if I was doing working, you know, if I did work out more and use those those tendons more, maybe this wouldn't have happened. I don't know. I can't predict, you know, how I could have changed anything. I just know the position I'm in now, and I know that I was able to get through it last time. The nurses at the surgery facility even kind of laughed because I brought my own chips. Like I had we took no salt corn tortilla chip or shells, like soft shells, and we put them in the oven, or we cut them up and we made them into our chips. And so I had my own bag of tortilla chips for after surgery, because when you get done with surgery, they ask you if you want water or Sprite, and if you want crackers or, you know, different things to eat. And not a thing that they're going to provide me is going to be free of salt. So I won't know anything till the end of this week. And then I really won't know anything. I won't have surgery till next week if we do end up going that route. So that's kind of been my day, going from doctor's office. And then originally my MRI was scheduled for later in the week, and then they had somebody cancel, so they asked if I could come in. So I came in today, did the MRI, and had to go through 2 cycles because I didn't lay still enough. I don't know how I couldn't possibly have laid still enough, because they had me in this tube and I had my arm over my head inside of its own tube, and then stuff shoved in there to keep my arm from moving, and I still moved it somehow. So I don't know. But they thought they got good enough scans here. Carrie says here, not the best Christmas gift ever. No, I'm not really a big fan of it, especially with the way the healthcare system works here and how much this is going to cost me. And if I'd have done it 2 weeks, you know, like deductibles and stuff would have been different. And so, Rick says, that's really rough. Your wife had shoulders issues and it was not much fun. You can't believe it's the diet. It could be even worse if you were eating the standard American diet. Yeah, who knows? Like, I can't know. And then, like I said, if it was out of the blue, like if I wasn't able to sit here and list all of these examples where I've had tendon and ligament issues in my past, then maybe I would consider it. But it's not the diet. It's the genetics as much as it sucks. Cindy here says, sorry to hear about your injury. That sucks. Don't lift anything heavier than a potato for a while. Yes, I'm going to have to do potato curls until I get healed. The only thing that really sucks, like having the surgery last time was not fun. It wasn't something that I would choose to do. The only redeeming factor that I've kind of told other people too is that my left arm, because I had the surgery and what they had to do to reconnect that tendon, my left distal bicep tendon area or whatever is stronger now than before. And so that's going to be, you know, one of the things that I think I mentioned it. There was a couple times since I injured my left that I kind of strained my right, and I got scared that I, you know, was going to hurt it. And then obviously I screwed it up last week. But the thing that's really going to suck is that it's my dominant arm this time. Last time it was my left arm. I was able to still do everything with my right arm. I could still write. I could still, you know, look at stuff on my phone, use my computer mouse. And now it's my it's my right arm now, so it's my dominant arm. So I'm not looking forward to it, but it might have been something I was going to have done at some point in my life anyways. And now it's as good a time as ever, I guess. So Rick here said that he posted a recipe today in the Discord for baked oatmeal. You made it today and it tasted awesome. We should give it a try. We'll have to look out and check and see what the recipe for baked oatmeal is. And then Pretty Girl's mom says an interesting snack, potato curls. I'm sure there is potato curls. Some brand, I'm sure some company has the term potato curls trademarked somewhere. So yeah, that's been kind of my last week. I tried to ignore it and hope that it would go away, and it would not go away, and it would not allow itself to be ignored anymore. All right. The other topic that I was going to talk about today is staying on your diet through the holiday season. We got holidays coming up here for many people, and it can be very difficult to stay on your diet during the holidays. The biggest thing that I am going to advocate for over the holidays is for you to look at this following week or the following next couple weeks and think about the strategies that you can do that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative. I say this at the beginning of every one of my live streams. What are some things that you're doing to make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? And coming into the holiday season, that is as important as ever. And so there's lots of things you can do. If anybody has suggestions for things you can do to make staying on your diet easier than the alternative, I'd love to hear them down in the description below. I really just have a couple of them that I wrote down. But for me, what I think will help, and I don't really feel like I have any, I'm not worried that I'm going to succumb to any temptation that would not be whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar free. There's maybe items within that realm that I avoid or I try to eat less of, and I will continue to do that. But what I would say is a very important strategy for me is to make sure that I don't go anywhere hungry. Don't go into any situation where you're going to be around food and you're hungry when you go in, because it's really tough to avoid that temptation when you're hungry. It's your body's natural instinct when you're hungry to satisfy that hunger. And when we lived in a world of scarcity, that benefited us. Now that we live in a world of abundance, that does not benefit us. So what I would suggest is to try to make sure that you are always full. You always have food accessible for you. If you have something, if you have a dinner that you're going to, make sure that you eat plenty of breakfast, make sure you eat plenty of lunch, and maybe even have a snack before you go to the dinner thing, or eat, but but plan ahead. Look at the events you have going on. Look at what are your options going to be at that event. Are you going to do something with family that support the way you eat or that are going to have stuff there for you? Do you need to bring your own food with you? Are you okay with just eating the stuff off the vegetable tray because that's all that's there? If that isn't going to satisfy you, then you need to work on a strategy of either bringing food that's for you that you can eat, or like I said, eating an abundance of food going in so that you don't get hungry while you're there. The other thing that I think is very important is to have a large amount of food in your past, but also have food in your future. Know that you have food coming up. So if you have a lunch that you're going to, or you have a dinner that you're going to, and you're not going to be able to eat there, or you have a holiday party and you don't think you'll be able to eat at the holiday party, have some plan to eat after the holiday party. And if you have to make that thing that you're eating after the holiday party something that you don't eat a lot of, then that, maybe that's what you have to do. But you have to have food in your future, because if you don't have food in your future, then that little guy in your mind is going to start screaming, "We're starving." And if you can say to him, don't worry, we got stuff at home, or don't worry, it's in the car, or don't worry, we just got to make it another hour, you can pacify him. But if he's screaming at you that we're starving, and you say, well, we'll take care of it, we'll get you something eventually, he's going to keep bugging you until you give in. So have some form of food in your future, or even have a snack on you. Throw a potato in your pocket, run around with a pocket potato, or have a Lara bar, or have some sort of snack together for yourself. And the last thing I guess that I was going to say today about it was that if you're eating a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet, as long as you stay committed to your diet, don't worry about the volume of food you're eating. I haven't worried about the volume of food I've been eating since the very beginning, because I had many examples or many days where I would eat a big bowl of brown rice noodles and some homemade marinara sauce, and I would be pulling my hair out like, man, I just ate 10 pounds of food. I'm going to gain 100 pounds. This is going to kill me. And I got on the scale the next day and I was lighter. And so as long as you're eating a whole food, plant-based diet, if you're sticking to it, then don't feel bad about it. You know, if you're eating all of the vegetables off the vegetable platter at your parents' house, or your sisters, or your cousins, or wherever you're at, don't feel guilty about it, because it's very low calorie, obviously, that example I gave. But make sure you're eating, and really the worry should be that you're not under eating. And because if you're under eating, that will accumulate. You know, you might make it through Friday celebrations, you might make it through Saturday celebrations, but then Sunday rolls around and you've not consumed enough food over the weekend. It's going to be really tough by the end of the weekend to keep pushing away the temptations and the cravings. But if you're eating an abundance of food, it's much easier to push away those cravings. I don't ever feel like I don't ever give into a temptation because of hunger. Like, if I ever gave into one during that second year, when I did give into them that second year, it was purely craving based. It was purely curiosity based. A lot of it was curiosity, was a lot of it during the second year, because I didn't know if vegan food tasted any good, because I never ate any vegan food. And if I did, it was on accident. So just kind of, put together strategies, plan ahead, look at where you're going to be, know whether or not the food there is going to be something that you can eat. If that food's not going to be something that you can eat, then make sure that you have food in your future. And so that you have things. Cindy here says, your husband wants to bake cookies and ship them to the kids for Christmas, and you said, no way, sweets are your addiction. And I can imagine what it would be like smelling cookies baking. Yes. And again, that's something where it's a craving. The curiosity, it would be too hard not to try the cookies, especially when you make stuff for people. And Carrie runs into this a lot, and specifically with holiday cookies. We had, Rick says he'll give you his address if you want to ship him some cookies. Carrie made cookies this past week, and we live in a house with our kids, and so there's lots of different foods in our house. But something Carrie wanted to try, because what you don't know about Carrie is she is a very wonderful baker, and she used to make these amazing lemon frosted cookies, or they were sugar cookies with a lemon flavor and icing on the top, and they were all amazing designs, and they were really wonderful. And so she wanted to try to veganize that recipe, or make something similar to those cookies, but using vegan ingredients. And so she did that this year. And I know that it was very tough for her, because you don't want to bake something and then give it to somebody and have it taste bad. So she was having our kids do, our kids were our taste testers to make sure that the cookies were edible, because Carrie's been doing amazing with sticking to the salt, oil, sugar-free part of the diet. And Carrie says right now she's in the midst of making more cookies. Cindy says, "No way, Rick, you don't need no cookies. Get back on your diet." And then Carrie says that we always give cookies decorating kits to the teachers. Yes, a lot of times that's something that Carrie, when she was working the cookie thing more, that they had a lot of people request that they would give them plain cookies and then icing bags, and then they could decorate their own cookie. And it's kind of a fun project to do with your kids. You know, it's kind of a, it's a coloring thing or a painting thing. And then at the end of it, you get to eat it. So you get to enjoy it there. But Carrie says that they're totally vegan, but still they smell delicious. And she had a few non-vegans taste them to make sure that they were good. Yes, she wanted to make sure that they were good. But yeah, that's tough when you make food for somebody, to not try it is extremely tough. And I think that this is way into the woods, but the making food for other people is part of what is making us fat. We don't control the food that we eat. We allow other people to make our food, and many times it's in good faith, or it's, they're making you something that they hope you enjoy, or that for you to enjoy. And so they add a little bit of extra love. And so I've said that a few times over the past 2 years, is that little bit of extra love that they put in food, it's really just salt, oil, and sugar. That extra flavor, that extra love that your mom put in the batch, the cookies that she made, was another dollop of butter or another spoonful of sugar inside the recipe. And that little bit of extra love is actually tangible, and it exists, and it's calories. And so that is kind of what just the making food for other people, buying food that other people have made for us, really, I believe, has contributed to the waistline in our population, because the people that profit from it. So from a me making cookies from you standpoint, that wouldn't really make a difference, and there would be a cap. There would be a limit maybe that people would hit. But when we're talking about companies profiting and restaurants making profit margins, they want you to choose their restaurant over the competitors. And so they're going to add the things that aren't healthy but taste good. And that's what so many of these restaurants are that we go to. Cindy says it's only going to be 3 of us at home this year, and it's a whole food, plant-based, SOS free taco bar. That sounds amazing. That was we've taken our kids, or we had our kids went to like a taco bar thing, and we just brought our own vegan meat. The other thing we did, an oatmeal bar. Like we had oatmeal, like just oatmeal, and then we had a bunch of ingredients you could put in it at an event we did. I'm trying to think of other things that we have done that we were able to kind of veganize it when it normally isn't. So Rick says Carrie needs my address too. Yes. No cookies for you. Back on your diet. So I am going to get out of here now. I got a couple things to do because my day got just torched because of doctor's visits. So I got a few things to get done before I get out of here, but I appreciate all you guys following along, supporting me throughout this. It really does help me. Something like this arm injury is a thing that in the past would be very easy to start throwing a pity party, to be like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to worry about it after the new year because I got to deal with this injury. But you can do this. You can do both things at the same time. You can stay on your diet and deal with the struggles of life at the same time. You don't have to give up one for the other. So thanks guys for all the support. It really helps me a ton. If you guys have not subscribed to the channel, make sure you get subscribed to the channel. If you have not clicked on the bell icon to get alerted when I go live or post new videos, click on the bell icon. If you've not hit thumbs up, commented down below, what are some things you're going to do this weekend that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Comment that down below. And if you have not started your diet yet, get started right now, guys. There's nothing. I know the holiday season's coming up, but it's not more important than your health, you know, like, especially if you're 520 pounds, you know, but if you're overweight at all, get started right now. Nobody ever gets to their goals, looks back and says, I wish I would have waited till after Christmas that year. I missed out on all the fun of Christmas that year. And if I would have just waited, then I would have nothing. They wouldn't say it. Nobody would say it. So get started now, guys. I will be on tomorrow for weigh-in Wednesday. I'm hoping to do an early morning video with the weigh-in, or whatever, maybe a 10 a.m. ish video, and then go live talking about the results at the normal time. So thanks everybody for all the support again, and you all have a wonderful evening. Stay safe out there.